let me give you the number one rule to saving your relationship. And this comes in the following agreement that the man and the woman must have in their relationship. You and your lady must agree that your problems, your individual conflicts will never be extinction level. Meaning that if you have a problem, you're not going to say, okay, it's over, we're breaking up. So that's the level that you have to set at the beginning. So when she agrees to be your girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever the case is, you first let her know, hey, we're going to have problems. Set that expectation. Then you set the standard of saying, when we do have problems, which are inevitable, we will not go to the extent of saying it's over, I'm breaking up with you. We will never use that language. We will never engage that mentality. We will never take a break. We will always know that we will return to one another. We are in this for the long haul. When you set that standard with your woman or with your man, you're going to have the following occur. Now you're in a good mindset to, even when you have a disagreement, that doesn't mean things are going to be over just because you didn't see eye to eye in a particular situation. Further, with that base of security, you know that if you have a disagreement and, Jack or Jill goes out that night, you don't have to think, okay, this chick is probably spinning around on a pole like a rotisserie chicken. You don't have to worry about that. And you don't similarly have to worry about your guy going out and dealing with big booty Barbara that night. So what I want to advise you on is to have some level of emotional control or emotional intelligence while you're engaging in conflict, which is to say, number one, most problems are not urgent, meaning that they don't have to be solved immediately, which means that you can take a little bit of time for you both to cool off and get some time to reflect on the situation before you have that conversation. That should also be another expectation that you should set. If it's not an urgent thing, let us take a couple minutes or however long is appropriate to cool off before we discuss. Any party that says, hey, I'm not going to give you time to get your thoughts together, they really are conflict oriented and probably very selfish. Like, for example, there was one time I was on a business trip and a young lady called me up. She had something she was displeased about. She says, hey, we need to talk about this. And I said, no, we don't need to talk about this. I'm on a business trip. Guess what I'm focusing on? Business. This is not business. This will wait until I'm back home. She was like, no, we need to talk about this. I said, okay, well, let me ask you a question. And gentlemen, this is a question you should ask your lady. And ladies, feel free to ask your man this same question. If we hold off on having this discussion, will the thing that you had to say have any different meaning based on time elapsing? Which is to say, whatever you got to say today, if you say it a week later, it'll still be the same. It'll have the same meaning. The problem will still be there. We don't have to rush to dig into this problem right now. And so I let her know, hey, I'm on a business trip. I need to focus on business. She couldn't handle that, so I said, you're done. Get up out of here. Because anytime a woman gets in the way of your money, she has no value. Why? Because women like to spend money. So if she would hinder your ability to make money, while us all knowing that she's going to want to spend money later, she is putting you in a no-win situation. Get rid of her. Now, I know that might sound like it contradicted rule number one, but you guys as a man should always have a rule of nothing comes before this bread. Nothing. Because without the bread, you can't provide for yourself, can't provide for your family, can't provide for a woman. So you always have to know that, and she should know that about you, that business will always come first. And that's not because you love business more than her. That's because business enables you to provide for her, provide for yourself, provide for your family. So that's something she needs to know off the rip, and that should be a piece of your personality. The first rule that I gave you was a rule for the relationship, not a rule for you as an individual. So the second thing that you need to understand, as I just stated, is that when there is a situation, always take time for you both to calm down and gather your thoughts so you can try your best to speak respectfully. Number three, The third thing that you want to do is make sure that you are not insulting one another. Try your best not to call the other person a name. You're stupid. You're a liar. All of these different things. These insults, especially when going from the male to the female, are unforgettable. Your lady will remember this and bring this back up time and time again. You'd be better off not to insult her. I can tell you, I've been very privileged to be involved with very civil women who have never called me a name ever, and I will never lose respect for them because of that. And I surmise that the reason they never called me a name is probably because their mother never called their father a name. Who knows? But for whatever reason, they never called me a name, no matter how disagreeable we both became in a situation. That always maintained my esteem for them. And that prevents situations from escalating. And ladies, I want to be very clear to you. It is your responsibility for your own safety not to become so unruly that you become physical. Because you will never win that fight. And if you notice that a guy is becoming physical, you must exit the situation because it will never get better. Men, women, if a situation between you and a lady becomes physical, that needs to be the end of the relationship. You need to start from scratch with a new person. Because some bridges, once you have crossed them, you can't go back. Once you've laid your hand on the woman, you've created a precedence, which you may engage again, which you are unlikely to be able to avoid in the future with that particular female. And even if you stop putting your hands on her, the guilt will be there and the memory will be there, and she'll probably bring that up. And it'll be hard to get over that baggage. I recommend you never do it. I've never done it. And if you do that unfortunate thing, you're going to need to get into a new relationship. So those are my pieces of advice for maintaining good communication, because conflict is inevitable. It's a part of life, a part of relationships. But people who are meant to be together, successful relationships, are when you're able to patch it up. When you're able to, number one, agree to never pretend as though every conflict is extinction level. Never mention divorce, never mention breakup, never mention taking a break. You have a disagreement, that's fine. Let it just be a disagreement, not an extinction level conflict, number one. Number two, take out time so you can both get your thoughts together, choose the right words, and don't insult each other. And number three, make sure that, let me remember what rule number 3 was. Oh, yes. Make sure that neither of you are becoming so unruly that the conflict becomes physical, right? You're calling each other names and things are escalating. Know when to stop. And I guess number 4, the unspoken one, is if things ever do get to that level where you all have broken some critical behaviors and calling yourself civil, like putting your hands on one another, that should be the end of the relationship. Folks, I hope you have found this very helpful. If you have any tips, tricks, or stories to share below, please do. Looking forward to hearing it.